Well, thank you for joining me, Andy Deeks of the DKS Group. I've just been posted over on the social media platform, Twitter, LinkedIn and Instagram, Facebook, about business development. And I've obviously spoken to a few clients over the weekend and then today, which is why I'm doing the video. Now, as I said on the Instagram little short video, you can ask hundreds of people, you can ask CEOs, you can ask business advisors, even coaches and consultants, what they consider to be business development. Now, as a coach, NLP, psychology, I understand it's from where you are to where you want to be. It's the development of the company, it's the growth of the company. Now, you ask some people and they will really say, actually, it's sales. Other people will say it's partnerships. And some will say it's about hustling, it's about getting there, it's about, all the time. So I've written some words which I'm looking at now. And obviously I want to try and talk you through my interpretation of business development. So let's have a go. Business development is basically varied and it's contradictory in its ethos. But what I've tried to do is to actually write down what I consider to be the core mission statement. Why we use as DKS, BD, business development, creating solutions to grow you and your business. Now, we do that over sport, business, coaching and transport. And I'm kind of putting this out there because I need you to kind of understand what business development is. And you're going to say, hey, don't insult my intelligence. Well, like I've just said, some people think it's sales, some people think it's partnerships, some people think it's hustling. So what I've come up with, and I'm going to read it to you if you don't mind, is basically my Eureka Moment. And obviously I've spoken to the other directors and this is something that we use. So obviously you know what I'm passionate about and what I talk about. The leaders and the owners create the environment that the staff work in and the customers embrace. So that's a given, you've got that. I talk about that hundreds of times. I then go on and talk about the fact that you as a leader, as an owner, actually only work for the staff. You work to empower them, to grow them, to nurture them, to teach them the way of the business, what you want out of them. The staff then work for the customers. They build rapport, they build respect, and they build a relationship with the customers, and the customers feel empowered to then work for the business, and they come back as advocates and they're repeat customers. So I've tried to put all that down into one statement. And I personally think I've got it right. I might be wrong, and I'm prepared to listen. So this is what I've just written. Business development is the creation of long-term value for the organisation, for the business, from its customers, its markets and its relationships. So you're going to go in, say that again slowly. Business development is the creation of long-term value for the organisation. Now this comes from customers, markets and the relationship. So that's another one of my sayings. It's simple, it's elegant, it's like at the heart, it's business development. It's basically now you've got to figure out how all these interactions, the value, the customers, the markets, the relationships all work to create growth. Because that's all we're looking for is growth, profit and growth. So let me break this statement down to you. And this is obviously what I'm going to do. So I've been writing it now for a client. Long-term value. Firstly, what do I mean by long-term value? In its simplest form, value is cash money, the lifeblood of any business. It's also a little bit of prestige, but we'll come back to that. There are plenty of ways to make a quick buck, we all know that. But business development, in my eyes, is not about get-rich schemes. It's about value. It's about adding value, and it comes of creating opportunities for that value to persist long-term, to keep the floodgates open, to keep the customers coming back. There's a value-added benefit. So thinking about business development as a means to creating this long-term success, constantly growing, constantly evolving, constantly bringing people in to pay the wages, to pay the bills. So that leads me on to my favourite one, customers. The customers of the definition is obvious, whichever way you are, and I say it millions of times. Customers pay the bills. They're the people that buy your products, buy your services, and without them, you have no business. You have no business to develop. But not everyone is a natural customer for your business. Maybe your product doesn't have the features they're looking for. Obviously, you've heard me in past videos talk about various companies. The little camping place up the road. I don't camp, I like hotels. The Holland Cooper, ladies' clothing, doesn't fit me. So what I'm trying to look at here in the customers is understanding who they are. The customers pay the bills. You've got to keep the customers happy. Now that moves on to our market. Now the customers are the market. The customers live in a specific market. And one way to understand the market could be geography. If you're selling stuff in London or you're selling stuff across the UK or you're selling stuff in America, you have to understand where your customers are. And it's always known about target customers. But it is the market that they're in. They live in a market. They're defined by their demographic and their geographic, their lifestyles and their mindset. So you need to understand this customer. And we talk massively about pinpointing your customer, but that's another conversation. We need to work out who this customer is and we need to unlock the long-term value. You've heard me talk about the gold, silver, bronze and the copper customers. Well, that's a touch on this. So understanding the markets that they're in. And let me help you with that. At the end of the day, I've mentioned the camping and I've mentioned Jade Holland Cooper. I'm not in their market. You know, I don't go camping and I don't buy women's clothing. Well, I do for my, but I don't wear it. So if they're going to advertise to me, they need to know who I am, where I am, and they need to come to my market and give me something that I can buy. So for example, if your company is into sport, you need to advertise to the people that do sport. Kind of helps in some respects. Very simple, very straightforward. You need to find a way of offering into the market that you're going into. Now the next one we break it down to, relationships. Relationships basically are the foundation, the underlying gravitas. It's there. You've got to have a relationship, not just with your staff, but with your customers. And you've got to understand the mutual appreciation. You've got to understand the value of that customer, not just financially, but emotionally as well. You've got to understand what that customer feels. And you've got to know whether that's a long-term customer. So we need to understand customers. We need to understand the relationships, how we build relationships, how we build on them. Now, whether these are business partners, whether they're customers, employees, they could even be the press, they could even be other dignitaries and such like around. But it's critical to any business to understand the relationship that you're having. So in passing, so is business actually sales? Is it partnerships? Is it hustling? Well, frankly, in my eyes, yeah, it's all of them. And we'll see as we go through and as you watch the DKS, I talk massively about the importance of building the market, the target customer, building the relationship, and understanding what you're doing. So, we've now increased our 3 sayings, and this one I've always kept hidden for a long time. And it was done way back 2000, I suppose we came up with this one. Because fundamentally, and now I've written it out, because I say it to customers and I say it to clients, business development is about growth. It's as simple as that. And the only way you grow is that you look at long-term value. You look at the staff, the customers, the markets and the relationships. Now it could be, as we've just gone through, your customers are important because they buy stuff. The market that you're selling into is important. And obviously the relationships with your suppliers, your staff and your customers is important. So fundamentally, you've got to look at business development as growth. Now you've heard in some of my older videos, I talked about business as a baby, and it's one of the books I'm writing. Understanding how a business grows is equivalent to understanding how a baby grows. And you're going to go, and hang on a minute, you told me that several videos back. And I went, yeah, so just look up business baby and there's a whole video on it. So I want you to take that on board. The 3 things that I say, the one of which I've now been open and honest and told you about. The leaders create the environment. Simple. The leaders and the owners work for the staff work for the customers, and the customers work for the business. And now this is the one that I don't normally tell, or I haven't put out on video. Business development is the long-term value from its customers, its markets, and its relationships. So it's understanding what you do, how you do it, who you do it for. It comes back to the 5 key points of living. Who are you, what do you do, who do you do it for, and what's your legacy. So just take that on board and understand that business development is business growth. And it's about understanding your markets, your values, your key points, your customers, and your relationships. So if you want to know more, head over. There's some blogs on the DKS Group website, and there'll be some more top tips on the YouTube over the next couple of weeks and months ahead. So take care.